Hello everyone. Before the whole thing starts, I want to say that I'm really honored to be in front of you all to present indeed a work that has been initiated for around more than a year now. Let me tell you a little bit how my presentation is going to work so that you have an idea of what you can expect. And I hope it's going to work, but well, anyway. Before everything else, I will introduce myself, because I believe it's important for you to know who I am, why I'm here, where I come from, and why, my background shaped the form of the study I'm going to present to you. Secondly, I'm going to speak about the study itself, Study Integral Campus, which treats about the practices on integral education of your universities and its diversity. Secondly, I will invite panelists on the floor to speak with me about what they do, very concretely to achieve and succeed in fulfilling the Catholic University mission through, you will see, 4 big challenges. Each of the panelists will give an answer to one big challenge. And then, once it's over, we will have normally 20 minutes open to the floor, for you to be able to ask as many questions as you want, present your own initiatives, because that's the idea of the Integral Campus program, showcasing the different initiatives of all universities so that people get inspired from one another and can collaborate. So really at this moment, feel free to speak about what you are doing, and ask all the questions, all the comments, and also, there will be a small part also for this, what you can expect from the Integral Campus program, because for the moment, the study I'm going to present to you is the first phase. We kept talking about capacity building during the these last days. For me, since the beginning, this study, and for, of course, the Secretary General as well, was the first step to accompany universities and to bring support to the one who needs them. And even for the ones that are already doing great, there is always room for improvement. Here we go. So let's start. I just need to check the hour. Okay. I will speak for 10 minutes about the program right now. As you can see, I choose these images to showcase both the idea of integration, through this rosae, I think it's called like this. It's also symbolic, of a Catholic Church. And of course, the cross with the multiple hands showing the diversity of it, the same colors, and how they integrate. Let's see. It works like that, yeah. So let me start first with my background. I added this slide this morning. I thought it was important for you to know, again, who I was. And I want to tell you that what I'm going to say is related, in fact, to what I'm going to present. I studied at Georgetown University. That's my first encounter with the Catholic University, thanks to my belonging to Sciences Po. Sciences Po is a big political science school in France, an elite school. Really, normally we're supposed to, it's a school of presidents and so on. And Georgetown is a very famous school in the US for international relations. I wanted to study international relations. I wanted to have an impact on the world. And that's why I decided to go at Sciences Po in France. And I want to tell you that it's a bit unfortunate. I hold a master's degree in sustainable development. Again, in order to save the planet, to put it bluntly. And I must say that unfortunately, it's not at school that I learned the most important things that explain and that fastened my personality and my way of seeing the world and my power as a citizen. My power as a citizen, I gained it through 2 initiatives, completely outside the classroom, even though, as you can see, there is semester in it, so the idea of education, the Greenpeace semester, and my involvement in a entirely youth-led association called Climate. Let me explain a bit, very quickly, what those 2 initiatives are. The Greenpeace semester, really, it's a 2-month intensive program that empowers students for them to lead campaigns within their campus or within their city to change actually the policies. So we learn about social change theories. We learn about all the empowerment techniques, the nonviolent action and so on, that really, on the ground, social change is brought massively through civil disobedience and massive nonviolent action. We learn how to do this in the respect of the people and even in the respect of the people who threaten us. That's very also Catholic, of course Greenpeace is not a Catholic association, but nonetheless, those values can resonate in Catholic identity and values. For climate, I want to speak about it because I've been involved, I've studied international relations at Sciences Po and at Georgetown, and I had to wait to be part of a youth-led association to in fact, achieve my dream, which was to participate to UN assemblies on climate change. The school, unfortunately, the two major schools on international relations could not brought me this dream. And I had the chance to work with this entirely student-led association to achieve my dream. And then I want to really thank another third partner I've worked with, the Catholic University of Lille, where first I told you I learned how to be a citizen, really, an active citizen. I achieved my dream to participate in the UN, and in the Catholic University of Lille, I learned how to build, within organized structures, innovation. When you have an organization that is big, how do you innovate? How do you build on your traditions to innovate? I learned it thanks to my job at the University of Lille, and that's where I met François, so that also explains why I'm here. So, I'm not telling you all this to say, oh, you are doing bad. On the contrary, Catholic universities are doing outreach, Catholic universities are partnering. I'm just encouraging you through these few examples to do it even more. That's why I presented this little background, and now I will move to the study itself. As François said, he asked me something like a year ago to start thinking about integral education and the notion of integral campus. It started really with this word, integral campus. He didn't give me a straightforward definition, he left me with that word. And, by researching, by creating a questionnaire that I sent to around 40 universities, I had the chance to interview 20 of you. Lots of you will recognize yourself in the room. I didn't interview, the Catholic University of Lille, but I knew it so well. Lots of its initiatives are quoted in this report. Now you can download, if you have not received it yet, by email, because not everyone, unfortunately, in this room has been interviewed. You can download this study on the website. It showcases exemplary, what I believe, to be exemplary and inspiring initiatives for all regarding integral pedagogy, regarding the transmission of Catholic intellectual tradition, very put it bluntly, and practices also on how to embody Catholic faith within the culture so that it's palpable, in the actions on campus. Interviewing all those people, around 21 people, I identified what I call 8 main strategic and operational challenges, but you will see when you read the study that in fact it's a summary. There are as many challenges, in fact, as there are initiatives in the report. But just, for the sake of synthesis and clarification, I summarized into 8 main ones. And lastly, as I told you, this study, I said, okay, it needs to be a first step for capacity building. So while I was interviewing, some of you, I contacted partners, that are creating interesting tools, to help to think integrally, because it's difficult to think in a very systemic way about everything, the social responsibility, Catholic vision, etc., etc., etc. I identified some partners for this. I identified other partners that are, forward-thinking in this regard, so it's a work in progress, but that's also what I've been doing for the past months. Very, very quickly, I don't want to get too long on that. This study was done because, okay, we have, and I don't want to downplay their role, we have the sectorial group ACES, you know, that is a research group on Catholic education that is doing pretty active, that is doing a symposium every year. But nonetheless, you know, it's not easy for the rectors to use the papers that they do, because it's, you know, dozens of papers. It's not necessarily very operational. It's not constructed in a, you know, on a platform or anything that allows for constant dialogue on that. So the idea of this study and this program was to fill this gap, you know. Therefore, as I said, the idea is really to showcase inspiring practices, being able to bring a constant dialogue between the rectors, but not only, also, let's hope, their executive teams and maybe even teachers at some point. Identify common challenges, for instance, between universities that have the same size and the same development, or even common challenges between big and small universities, to say, okay, you share challenges. Some universities manage to answer in a way. We can dialogue, you know, and partners can also help, you know, having a room for dialogue, constant dialogue between you. And lastly, of course, in addition to that, see how we can help you even better. Very quickly also, I'm often asked, of course, what is an integral campus? What is an integral university? And it's a completely relevant question, and that's something we address within the survey. But I addressed it, I thought about it a lot. I wrote a lot, and I thought, well, what's the point? I'm not going to impose you a definition. You are not babies, you know? You can think that's the goal. You can think of what an integral Catholic campus is. You know what integral education is. Let's think about a systemic campus. So I asked you from the report. You will see quotes, you know, in the reports from that gives definition. And lastly, again, you know, if you want, you can ask me the questions after, you know, if you want precisions on integrative thinking, systemic and holistic, how they combine, etc. But really, the idea of this study was to start with you, what you are doing, how you think of your issues. Then maybe at some point we will create a model. Then maybe at some point we will formalize rules. But for the moment, okay, let it be bottom up. Again, here I just wanted to show you the 22 exemplary initiatives are divided within the 3 and therefore 6 big categories. I started with the very first, you know, what everyone says. We offer humanistic professional education. We teach ethics. We incorporate ethics within our classrooms. I wanted to showcase you universities that are putting it on a compulsory basis, you know, for instance. We do outreach. That's absolutely also very common. Okay, great initiatives about outreach. Then there is something, okay, the integral education, we speak a lot about it, but in fact here we see many, many more differences between how universities consider integral education. Because it has so many aspects, you know, it's not only ethical professionalism, it's a whole range of human dimensions, you know, emotions, relations, social, I talked about empowerment, you know, related to health, related to finance. Here, you know, how do universities address that? Address the integral dimension of human beings, you know? It's very diverse, so it's another point. Yeah. And lastly, for the last point that is the most kind of difficult, is Catholicity, the actual transmission of Catholic intellectual tradition. And here, not that many universities are doing it, I'm afraid. On the 21 universities I interviewed, 5 really said, yeah, we are trying our best to do that. The others didn't really mention it, talked about Catholic values as if they were humanistic values, but not strictly Catholic, you know. Here, sorry, it's a big, I'm not going to be loud on that. It's a big moment where there is a pact. Very packed slide. I just want to showcase you the weak points of your universities. Here, it's the answers to the questionnaire. Every people had to say, for all the dimensions that you see here, all the people had to say either if their university was doing great, if their university was doing nice initiatives but not evaluated yet, or if they were weak, they were feeling weak on this issue. So that's why, more people said, yeah, we have great initiatives, I put it in strong, where it's both, innovative, experimental, and strong and weak, it's average, and otherwise, when there is nonetheless numerous weak points, I put it here. And as you can see, everything we talked about during these last few days, it's strange enough, but, well, we have to progress on that, on learning ecosystems and sustainability. Here's the main reasons why universities face difficulty. I won't get too much into details, because right now, here's the time for our panelists to come on board. You will see, I will, if you please can come, it's your turn. Because as we say, in our science say, 10 minutes or 15 minutes after we need to move to something else. So please sit wherever you want, it doesn't really matter. I asked them, I chose these people because I really wanted to, an integral campus is built by rectors, so you have a rector representative, of course, Brother Enrique, that you already know. You need also, of course, directors, project managers. That's what Fadi El HALABI represents here. You need professors, and here is Max BONILLA from the University of Universidad Francesco de Vitoria. And he's also doing a great project. We will talk about it later, but he's a teacher among us. And we need partners too. So I invited Romain Viquet, scientific director of Impact Campus, to be on the floor as well. We miss only students, so I consider I play the role of the students. They will all be asked, they will in fact answer in 5 minutes paradoxical and tough questions that are contained in the survey. And then, one after another, and then it will be your turn. It will be your turn to speak, your turn to share your ideas, your turn to share your comments, your turn to share what you expect from, again, the study, any questions, anything, and the follow-up, of course. So, here are the questions. As you can see, I divided into 2 parts. One on education for the integral human development of students, and one on the management of the university, because in fact, an integral campus, there are the 2 aspects we need to show, And for each one of them, of these things, there is 2 tough questions. How to define what is a fulfilled human being? Let's consider that it's not that obvious, so how do you create common vision within your university? What do you choose? Do you make compulsory classes or not? That kind of things. We will start with this question, and I will ask Brother Enrique to give his answer, to this big question. Let me leave that to allow him to present with his file. I think where is it? Edit, I believe. Oh, excuse me. View. Here we go. So he has 5 minutes.
Muchas gracias por la invitación. En la Universidad La Salle de México hemos centrado la experiencia de formación integral en la persona, tanto en la persona del alumno como en la persona del colaborador, del maestro, del administrativo. En este momento voy a hablar de lo que hacemos referente al alumno. Bien, hablamos o hacemos 3 cosas principalmente: lo que consideramos la formación integral, el acompañamiento y una idea que hemos metido en la universidad, que es hacer comunidad para que los alumnos se sientan miembros de un grupo. En cuanto a formación integral, tenemos 12 créditos o programas que los alumnos deben de cursar. Yo les quiero comentar que en México hacer un servicio social no es algo propio de las universidades católicas. En México hacer un servicio social es obligatorio. Todos los alumnos deben de cumplir 480 horas para poder recibir su título. Por lo tanto, esto del servicio social ya es algo que hacen las universidades católicas, las universidades no católicas, las universidades públicas. Todos los alumnos lo deben de hacer y por eso hemos optado por dar algo más para nuestros alumnos. Estos créditos son 3 en el área cultural. Todos los alumnos deben de participar en actividades culturales, de arte principalmente. 3 en actividades sociales, esto es hacer algo por la gente externa, por la gente más necesitada. 3 créditos de impulso, esto es formación hacia el liderazgo, una formación hacia el saber trabajar, competencias en común, saber trabajar en equipo, en colaboración y finalmente 3 créditos deportivos. Cada uno de estos créditos están integrados por un trabajo de 60 horas, lo que implica trabajar al menos 180 horas para cumplir cada una de estas áreas. Y deben de hacerlo en los 4 primeros semestres para dejar los otros semestres para la realización de su servicio social de 480 horas. Así, en este semestre que concluyó, tuvimos, por ejemplo, el 71% de estudiantes participando en actividades culturales, 63% en actividades de acción social, 75% de los alumnos en actividades físicas, 40% en participación estudiantil, formación de liderazgo, 34% en formación espiritual y 68% en vida saludable. Otro aspecto relevante es el área curricular común. Tenemos un eje transversal que deben estudiar todos los alumnos, al menos una materia cada semestre, y estas materias van en cuanto a valores humanos y cristianos, comunidad, servicio, multiculturalidad y desarrollo sustentable. Estas son las 4 áreas: pensamiento y comunicación, emprendedores y sustentabilidad, lengua extranjera, humanismo y sociedad. Además, estas materias los alumnos las cursan en multidisciplinariedad. Esto es, en el salón hay médicos, abogados, filósofos. Forzosamente tienen que estar con otras ramas del conocimiento. Algunas de las materias que pongo como ejemplo son la persona y su interacción con los otros, valores y ética profesional, diálogo intercultural, fe religiosa y mundo actual, fe y desarrollo espiritual, seminario de transformación de la realidad. Esto con la intención de ir creando una conciencia de solidaridad y de responsabilidad. Después, en cuanto al acompañamiento, que es el segundo punto, tenemos algunos programas de prevención. Esto con la finalidad de reducir factores de riesgo, sobre todo factores de riesgo hacia adicciones, hacia situaciones difíciles en la persona. Tenemos un conjunto de alumnos que viven en una soledad profunda y esto los lleva a buscar a veces su realización por cuestiones no totalmente éticas o acordes a lo que la Universidad Católica les quiere enseñar. Y a través de estos programas de prevención les estamos ayudando para que ellos hagan lo posible de poder hacer una vida más saludable, más sana y que se sientan comprometidos con la sociedad. También impulsar estilos de vida saludable. México es una de las poblaciones con mayores problemas de obesidad y de desnutrición y por lo tanto tenemos que ayudarles a tener un equilibrio físico, un equilibrio en su persona. También programas de tutoría y acompañamiento, la contención y resiliencia e incrementar la eficiencia terminal. Hacemos un acompañamiento a nuestros estudiantes para que no por cuestiones ni académicas ni de depresión personal dejen la universidad. Estos son algunos de los proyectos que tenemos. Ya me voy a ir más rápido porque me dicen que ya se me acabó el tiempo. Y finalmente, actividades de comunidad. Estas actividades las hacemos con la intención de que los alumnos se sientan integrantes de un grupo, que ellos sientan que son parte de un grupo y que son importantes para ciertas personas, para determinadas personas. Así tenemos, por ejemplo, jornadas de bienvenida, de medio camino y de síntesis. Y bueno, en general es todo. Muchas gracias.
Thank you very much, Enrique. On the same question, I'm going to, how do we, in your university define a fulfilled, integrally developed students? Let me put this again, where is it? Here we go. On the same question, I asked Fadi EL HALABI. He's a director at Antonine University of a very interesting project, I believe, of Center for Relational Ecology. So he's going to talk about this. He's also the director of, I hope not to be mistaken, the Economical Disability Advocacy Network. Here we go. And he's also, I must say, a salsa dancer. He participated in a world festival, even though he's in a wheelchair, the first of all in the Middle East. So, well, a fulfilled human being as well. You have the floor.
Thank you, Leslie. That was not part of the CV, the dance, but thank you for saying it. First of all, I'm really happy that we were able to participate to this study. And it is very alignment with this newborn center that called the Relational Ecology Center. It's been a 6-month center that was launched in Antonine University. But first, I would like to say that it's my deep joy, and I feel very grateful to be part of this platform. I was challenged by many questions, and I was touched by many captions, promising one and frustrating one at the same time. And one of the main questions that I was challenged by was what the added value of a Christian university, and how can we define it? You know that we live in a postmodern society that is promoting values like success, competition, wealth, social status. And at the same time, those values depend a lot on what we do and not how to be. And I think the Catholic University, first of all, we need to teach us the know how to be, the know how to become, to lead not only a successful life, but a fulfilling life. Because success without fulfillment is a failure. So I think the first thing that we need to know, and I think that the documentation Popolorum Progressio replies somehow to this question, when they say that the development cannot be limited to mere economic growth, it must be complete, integral, that it has to promote the good of every person and of the whole person. And when we say to the every person, should mean nobody should be excluded from the university, whether based on gender, religion, disability, sexual orientation. And this is very important, the inclusiveness of our Catholic university. And the second thing, the whole person, we need to address what I'm saying, not only the technical skills, but also the know how to be and then how to become. So the student, they can discover their deep mission, how to become a better person, the best version of themselves, and how to lead a fulfilled life. For myself, I would like to call myself, I discover my mission as a facilitator of personal growth. I empower people to become the best version of themselves, whether in my clinic or in the training that I deliver, and now in this new center that we called Ecological Relational Center. Why? The best thing to show it is to show what we say. I want to invite Leslie to come, please. Can you take this? Leslie, can you come, please? Okay. I believe that we are a relational people, relational being, which means that in each relation we are three. There is me, there is the person, and there is the relation. And I consider the relation as a living organism. And the quality of the relation that I propose to myself and to the other will determine the quality of our well-being. So either we propose a healthy relationship, lively communication, or we can propose a polluted relationship. And that doesn't apply only on the personal level, it's applied also on the institutional level. And that's why the mission of the Relational Ecology Center is to promote a culture within the university that promote a lively communication and healthy relationships favorable to the personal, interpersonal, and community growth and fulfillment. Because we all face in our way of being and doing sometimes alienation, domination, violence, manipulation. If we're not aware about this, and how can we really maintain a healthy relationship, that will not help us to become the person that we would like to become, whether on the institutional or the personal level. And that's why the Relational Ecology Center is promoting those values, that you need to work on your technical skills, not only on your relational skills and on your civic skills. And our two main projects now that we are designing to define what are the relational skills that we can introduce in the curriculum, and to define as well what are the civil skills that we need to promote and to design in a participatory approach. So that's in relation with one dimension of the Relational Ecology Center, which is personal development. Thank you, Leslie.
Would you like to show a little bit of
Okay, and one of the activity that we did this year was to promote this a new energy, a new relational skills. It's called Limitless Workshop. It is inspired by Tony Robbins. It was a 12 hours workshop. Can you believe student and person outside the university, they were sitting interacting for 12 hours, because it is based on innovative ways of providing relational skills. So the 5 senses is involved, and the whole body is involved as well. So we'll give you a sneak peek about what was this activity.
Oh, is there sound?
The objective was how to be in a peak state of mind, I mean high energy, how to raise your standards.
Oh, excuse me. Excuse me.
Yes, there's a lot of
How to
energy.
awaken everyone. Excuse me, really. And it's louder, you will see it's very, very loud.
2, 3, go!
Can you go back?
Do you want me to go back?
Yeah, the beginning.
A little bit? Okay.
Yeah, all right.
ألف برافو للجامعة الأنطونية ولعيسى على هالانرجي اللي عنده إياها هو والكرو تبعه.
Welcome on stage, Good morning, Beirut!
شيء رائع جدا.
Okay, so that was a 12 hours workshop. It was the first event of our center, how to promote relational skills in a very interactive platform. The other things that so what I want to say that emotional and relational intelligence is a basic component of our personality. And this is what we are trying to build and to promote through the Relational Ecology Center. The second thing that we are working in is to create a strategy to include people with disability in this center. And I would love to say that the inclusion of persons with disability with the university is not an option. It is a characteristic of being a Catholic university. And I will tell you that in Lebanon, 2.2% of people with disability, they have a university degree. So it's a very dramatic facts and numbers. At the same time, unfortunately, I can say that civil society and governments in many places in the world are more advanced from churches in promoting the right of people with disability. But you know, the church should be the role model in doing this. What we were able to do in my other mission as Ecumenical Disability Advocates Network Director it is part of World Council of Churches. We were able to produce 2 documents, official documents. One of them called A Church of All and for All, the other one called The Gift of Being. And those documents are addressing theological issues about disability, the image of God, healing, the prejudice that we can face in society, and many other issues. And we promote those documents in all the faculty of theology in Lebanon. And my dream, really, that all the Catholic university, especially the theological one, introduce in their curriculum disability studies. Because without this, we cannot be equipped how to contribute to this world, to this social group. And those documents were done by World Council of Churches. They are more Protestant approach. So we need the contribution more of the Catholic Church of those, to build and to contribute in this document. The second thing that I want to say that it's important as well that the whole structure of the university will be inclusive to touch all kinds of people. I mean, visual impairment, physical impairment, and hearing impairment, and even learning disabilities. And that is really a challenge for us as university to promote and to build so we can be inclusiveness. And that's why I urge the new presidents to put on your top priority inclusiveness and solidarity as well. Otherwise, we cannot be Catholic. The second thing that I forgot to say, what does it mean to be Catholic as a university? Not only to promote the integral human being, but also to embrace our vulnerability. We forget that as a Christian, we are vulnerable, and we have the right to be vulnerable, and we have the right to embrace our vulnerability in a peaceful way. No success and no wealth can erase our vulnerability. So if we reconcile with it and we teach our students not to focus only on success, but to hold their vulnerability in a happy way, we will provide them the best gift ever. And thank you.
To react on what you just said, when you asked the new president to bring inclusiveness at the forefront of our action, there is actually a project on handicap at IFCU that is still ongoing. You know, it's a research project also on what universities are doing on 3 continents. We didn't have the opportunity, unfortunately, to present it that well during this General Assembly, but it's work in progress. So, you know. Yeah. Here, I would like to introduce our 3rd panelist for the question of the training of young people. You know, the question that we asked ourselves also during this General Assembly that was brought by Pierre Calam, for instance, or other people, was how do we train young people to become, you know, change makers? Simply speaking, do we focus on professionalization and ethics, you know, so that they are good professionals, or do we go a step further and build on entrepreneurship, teach them about the Sustainable Development Goals, do everything we can so that they really become change makers, you know, during their studies. And here for that, I will let Romain Buquet present Impact Campus and the solutions that he also discussed with you during one workshop.
Thank you, Leslie. Thank you, Fadi, for waking up everyone with the music. I'm grateful to IFCU for being there in this insightful discussion this week. And I wanted to congratulate Leslie on this study that is very compelling and interesting for us. If, like me, you have tasted the local gin and tonic yesterday night, you must have trouble concentrating right now, so I will be very simple. I have two messages that I want you to remember from my speech. The first one is that universities have to go beyond corporate social responsibility and engage into real social innovation. And the second one is that the curriculum, incremental changes in the curriculum are a good step, but we can go further with a radical change in the curriculums. For my first argument, CSR, corporate social responsibility, is often defined as reducing your negative impact on the world. Okay, so for a university, it means recycling the waste, it means doing a carbon footprint of your campus, and this is a good step, but you can go further and really do social innovation. Social innovation is, on the other hand, trying to maximize the positive impact you have on the world. And this can be done for a university by transforming your student, not on annex activities, but really focusing on the transformation of your students. Outside of IFCU, almost all universities are now engaging into CSR initiatives, but very few are really going down the route of transforming their model and transforming their curriculums. If we want to go down that route, and that's my second argument, incremental change might not be enough. It's really interesting to have an ethics course there and to have an option on sustainable development here, but I think we're still missing a larger point. For those who were in my workshop on Tuesday, I quoted Sir Ronald Cohen, which is a famous investor, and he said that in the 19th century, investment decisions were made based on a rentability criteria. Then on the 20th century, investor would look at rentability and risk. And he said then that in the 21st century, all investment decisions at some point will be made on risk, rentability, and impact. What is the impact of your action, the social impact and the environmental impact? So if we follow that idea, impacts need to be taken into account everywhere. 10 years ago, I was a student in a business school, and I didn't have an optional course on rentability. Rentability was implicit in my marketing course, HR course, management course. And maybe someday we can do the same with impact. So to reach those two goals, we created a non-profit organization, which is called Impact Campus, which helps the pioneer university that want to go through that change. And I have a very short video rather than a boring speech to show you, with less music than Fadi, but hopefully it shows you what we've done over this year.
Les étudiants attendent du sens. Ils attendent que les universités, les pouvoirs publics, les entreprises, les associations leur procurent du sens à leur action.
Il manque dans nos formations cet aspect citoyen. Comment je me comporte, même si je dois défendre mon entreprise. Il y a des choses qu'il faut apprendre et savoir gérer.
Je trouve formidable qu'on pense à impliquer les étudiants.
Everyone has a role to play, especially the young.
L'idée est de mettre en contact un cœur étudiant avec des acteurs locaux que sont des associations, des collectivités locales et territoriales pour que de véritables projets de solidarité ou d'engagement puissent être développés. des contenus digitaux qui seront accessibles à tout le monde, des parcours qui seront qualifiants avec des reconnaissances.
Je me suis engagé chez Impact Campus au sein de mon école car pour moi c'est fondamental.
Nous sommes ravis de pouvoir avancer dans un projet qui devrait permettre de co-construire un dispositif d'éducation.
Plus on sera nombreux à porter cela, et mieux ce sera.
Ce qui nous manquait aujourd'hui, c'était le moyen de concrétiser et de structurer tout ça, et c'est ce que nous a apporté Impact Campus.
Impact Campus, ça nous permet de toucher tous les étudiants, et pas seulement ceux qui sont finalement déjà engagés sur les questions de développement durable et responsabilité sociétale.
C'est une vraie demande de l'étudiant, notamment en sciences de gestion.
J'admire beaucoup ce que vous faites et j'espère qu'il y aura beaucoup d'étudiants qui auront envie de suivre cette envie que j'essaye aujourd'hui de leur transmettre et que plein d'autres essayent de transmettre. Donc engagez-vous.
A few words to conclude. If you want to go down that route and follow the example of Salle University or Antonine University, we have 4 precautions.
Il est grand temps d'arrêter les discours d'eau tiède, parce qu'il faut oser dire qu'on est entré dans l'ère de la rareté.
That's the beginning of one of our course. Sorry for that. So we have 4 precautions to take from what we've learned into this experience. First, the courses have to be mandatory. If it's optional, you will only target at students that are already convinced by these challenges and thus missing the point. Then you have to focus on employability, because students are not here mostly to develop their hobbies, but first and foremost to get skills to enter a more and more competitive job market. Then, third, you have to embrace the complexity. There is no use of telling them it's going to be easy, green is good, all your decisions will be easy, because as professionals, they will face difficulties, complexities, and hard choices to make. And then, you should think about working with the civil society. It really worked for us. It needs a bit of understanding. We need to understand how universities work and the other way around. But after 1 year of experiments, we really want to go further, and it's been a very challenging but fascinating adventure. Thank you very much. Thank you, Leslie.
Dear colleagues, for the sake of time, unfortunately, we will have our last speaker talking about, how he does in his university to foster what also Ex-Corde Ecclesiae really recommend, which is the integration of knowledge between different disciplines, with ethics, with theology, philosophy, and Christian anthropology, which is, you can guess, pretty difficult. I pointed at the third question because the last very difficult question is, okay, how do we create a united community? With often staff that is not necessarily Catholics, or even when the staff is Catholic, well, it doesn't mean necessarily that it goes in the right direction. In the survey, for the first question, we won't be able to address it, but I point out to some pretty interesting initiatives that some universities are doing regarding training of their staff, notably. So I welcome our last speaker, and then you will have your coffee break. I'm really sorry we won't be able, unfortunately, to be able to speak as I would have loved to, but I will very quickly show you what's next for you and what's next for us at the IFCU, and then if you want to keep on the discussion between one another on those questions, feel free. There will be coffee break for that.
Good morning. I'd like to take these 5 minutes to tell you about what my university has tried to do. The concept of what it means to be a Catholic university, we debated on whether doing social responsibility or doing what many of us do, or having a great pastoral program or a campus ministry is the answer, or perhaps including some theology and philosophy in the curriculum. We assume that a Catholic university is Catholic in those areas only when, but those areas are marginal areas by and large. Social responsibility are things that often we do as outreach work, not usually necessarily in throughout the whole campus. It is not something that we do with theology and philosophy when we add in the curriculum, because we realize the vast majority of students that come to Catholic universities are not interested in theology or philosophy. They come to study all kinds of other things. So what we teach, we often try to do with ethics or values or some other work, but we realize that, of course, socialist and atheist universities would do exactly the same thing. They're interested in social responsibility, they're interested in ethics. So how are we Catholic in a way that respects the integrity of non-believers and recognizes the identity as a Catholic university? What we did was we have come to the conclusion that there's only the best way to do it is by integrating a vision of the human person, a Christian anthropology within the sciences, the secular sciences. So we started a program at the university that has taken a number of years to form the faculty in the secular sciences, to understand what is the human person in each of the sciences. Are we a collection of molecules only, or are we a person with dignity? Is in law, it's what is ethical, that which legal or illegal, or is it based on what is just and what is just relative to a person? What is truth in the science is not just looking for facts, or is it looking for a deeper truth that is integrated in the whole vision of the Christian world? That integration should happen in chemistry, in astronomy, in biology, in any field of knowledge. But it requires an understanding of what is the human person that seeks the truth, something that the Catholic University has and can offer a profound contribution. Then the ethical question and the question of values has a much more profound meaning, because the question of ethics can be a secular view of social constructs, or it can be viewed within the concept of the dignity of the human person. In that sense, understanding what is ethical in relationship to a person that has dignity and that seeks truth has a much more profound meaning that not only is profoundly Catholic, but it also respects the integrity of all people, believers or unbelievers. In the last minute or so, I'd like to talk then about how we are bringing that out to the world. The Vatican Foundation, Joseph Ratzinger, Benedict XVI, has asked us to partner with them to offer what we call the Expanded Reason Awards, Premios Razón Abierta. They consist in 4 awards, 100,000 euro total each year, to 4 scholars, 2 in teaching, 2 in research, for outstanding works related to the dialogue between faith and reason. The foundation, you may be aware, is the one that grants the Ratzinger Prize in Theology. So we distinguish these, the Expanded Reason Awards, based on things other than philosophy. So theologians are not rewarded. This is an award program for everyone else, for us astronomers and physicists, scientists, economists, jurists, and so on, that engage in a dialogue between faith and reason. It's like I said, 4 prizes, 25,000 each, for outstanding works in theology and in philosophy. It's awarded every year, and you can find it at expandedreasonawards.org, which very briefly, I will show here. Our website, expandedreasonawards.org. The winners have been announced for this year, last week, in fact. They include a physicist, Javier Canizares, Juan Arana, a philosopher of science, in computer science and ethics, John Cavadini at Notre Dame with a dialogue between science and religion for teachers, and so on. So you can find more on that website, or you can email me if you need any more information. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to the 4 speakers, and thank you very much also for your attention. I wanted to, open the floor, but it won't be, unfortunately, possible for you to enjoy the coffee break and for the next session to begin not too late. So I just would like to tell you that, okay, there is a study. You can download it, as I said, on the website. Of course, it's available for everyone. I want also to say that of course, it doesn't have to stay here. So every voluntary university that wants to participate, that want to showcase their actions, that want to bring up the discussion is perfectly welcome. You have my email address. We can keep on discussing with great, great pleasure. And last but not least, for us, we will, of course, keep on the reflection. I'm engaged to writing a final recommendation report. I didn't necessarily emphasize, but in the questionnaire and the survey, the last part is about what do you think the IFCU can do, to help you more on all those issues, of integrating and showcasing your Catholic identity in the way that is the most relevant for you. And so, of course, I will write another final report on this, with preconizations. And after, I let, of course, the Secretary General and the President make their choices. Whenever it's ready, you will be aware, and we will keep on discussing. Thank you very, very, very much.